All right, guys, welcome to lesson 3. We're going to be moving into something a little bit different today. We're going to be moving away from geom points, and we're going to be looking into other things that we can do in RStudio. So the very first thing we're going to do is you're going to open up a new R script, and you're going to bring in the Excel document that I posted inside the classroom under lesson 3. It's called Swing and Miss, or Swing Miss. All right, so at this point, if you can't tell, I'm starting to kind of skip over some things I've covered in previous videos because I want you guys to struggle a little bit and to start to pull in, recall the data a little bit more than recall the information as opposed to me just regurgitating it every single time to you. So once the data is in there, you're going to see right here, swing miss. You're going to see about 11, I believe it's 11,000 rows and 92 columns like usual. It's a lot of swinging and missing from plays in the Major League Baseball so far this year. The very first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to go in and plot to see where the swing and misses are happening using plate X, plate Z, and geom point. So I'm going to just write it out, but you guys should also pause the video now and write out some ggplot code on your own to get that going. So I'm going to just pause the video, write out some code on ggplot about plate X, plate Z, and a geom point, and I'll see you on the other side of this for a second. All right, so this is what you should get. You should get something that looks like this right here after you've plotted it, and this is the code we're going to get. And I just want to point out one thing. I'm pretty familiar with the StatCast data, so I'm not putting swing, miss, and then the money sign after it. You can continue to do that, but as you become more familiar with like your Excel documents that you're going to be working with, whatever those might be, you can just simply just type in plate X, plate Z, and go from there. Okay, that's just going to be a small thing that you can do. So last time we added some color in, so I'm going to just put in some color for the pitch name. I'm going to click run. I'm going to let it go. Whoops, this is going to be a lesson. I typed in player name and I want it to be pitch name, so I'm going to get a lot of stuff. So this might happen to you occasionally. You can just hit the little stop button right there and it should go. And I'm going to correct it with pitch name. And again, just let this be like a quick lesson. You're going to see that it takes a long time for the stop button. But then once I've corrected it with the pitch name, and just kind of show you again what I mean by getting rid of the beforehand. So it's going to show swing, miss, money sign, pitch name. I don't really want that in my plot. So I'm going to kind of get rid of it and just run the code again. All right, good. So now we start to see, like these are all the pitches that have been swinging and misses, and we can see that they are if we go into the data. I've gone through and done some stuff to only get swing and misses, but you're going to see description is going to be all swing and misses, okay? So this tells us a little bit, but like you're like, hey Josh, like, this really isn't like telling me like where the swing and misses are starting to happen. So we can do a couple things to really start to pep this up a little bit. So we're going to actually add a line of code. We're going to go plus, and we're going to do something called Facet wrap. And a Facet wrap is just saying like, I want to split this data up by whatever I put inside of this parenthesis. So right now, this plot reads, I want to plot swing and miss, and I want the visual, what we look at, X to be plate X, Y to be plate Z, and I want the color to be pitch name. So plate X is X, plate Z is Y, and the color is going to be pitch name. And I want to add points, which is what we're looking at, and I want to separate the data by, I'm going to go pitch name. So a Facet wrap is going to separate the data. It's going to split this into about 10 different graphs right now based on the pitch name. So you have to put this little squiggly line, which is the little button right to the left of the 1, and then I can click on run, and then you're going to really start to see the power of RStudio. It's going to make like 10 plots in a couple seconds here. So we're going to really see right away, we get to look at all the different areas in which the swing and misses are happening in 2020 so far in Major League Baseball. But again, this is starting to just slowly paint a picture. We can start to do stuff where we see fastballs a little bit higher, changeups a little bit lower. We see sliders a little bit, on the outside more. And we can really get creative with this if we want to. So we're going to see that from this point, we're going to be adding a couple other things to it. So once we have it, and I'm just going to add Facet wrap again. Facet wrap by whole thing, pitch name. So once I have this, I can start to do some like kind of like deeper analysis on it. And Jump-Point is going to be great for a lot of things, but there are a bunch of different options that we can add to ggplot as we kind of get more familiar with it. So we're actually going to simplify the code for a second, and we're going to remove the color, but we're going to leave the facet wrap in there. So I'm going to just run that again, and we should get the plot that we had prior. Awesome. All right, so we can change Jump-Point out for a bunch of different options. I'm going to kind of show you guys a few that we can look at, and then you're going to kind of play around with them. So one we're going to look at is going to be JOMBin 2D. And JOMBin 2D is going to take our data, and it's going to basically bin it into these little data points, and you can see that it actually tries to get a count for the different bins. So if they're close enough, like if pictures are closer together, it's going to count them together. So you're going to see that we can start to see differences in pitches, and I'll zoom this to make it bigger to kind of show you guys. You're going to see that obviously like these light areas are going to be more swing and miss. So we see a lot more sliders on this outer portion of the plate, and we see more fastballs up in the zone. That's just going to be kind of one option that we can use, and it's going to be JOMBin 2D. Okay. The second one that we're going to look at is going to be Jom Density 2D. And Jom Density 2D is going to just make these like nice looking contours that are going to show us where the swing and miss. Now we can start to see some differences as we look at swing and miss. Okay, so we can see like fastballs are going to be up, sliders are going to be more low and away. And just to kind of give you the power of Facet wrap, maybe I don't want to do a pitch name. Maybe I want to do by, I believe it is going to be swing, miss, P throws. Maybe I want to do it by the hand the pitcher throws, so I can see the differences in those two. And so you can see more swing and miss happen on this lower part of the plate for right-handers and a little bit more on the inside. So it's just another way that we can start to break down the data. I'm going to do JOMBin 2D, see how this looks, see if it's any different. And so you can start to see the differences here. And a lot of times in these JOMBins, you can actually set a bin number. So I can say, like, this is like a lot of bins. It's not very conducive for what we want to do. So maybe I'm just going to just make a guess and say, JOMBin, I want 10 bins. And now I can start to see some differences, right? Maybe I want to do, I don't know, 5 bins. And I can start to play with this and start to see where the differences are starting to happen. Obviously, left-handers throw more low and into right-handers, and right-handers throw more low and into left-handers. So we can start to see some differences in swing and miss data as we kind of start to break it down. All right, great. So now we have an idea of JOMBin and JOMBin Density 2D. We're going to be going back into Classroom, and I put an Excel document inside of it called Called Strikes, and that's going to be all the called strikes so far in 2020. And you're going to create a plot, and you're going to plot plate X and plate Z, and you're going to want to separate the plot by strikes. And we're going to be looking at how the count changes, how the strike zone changes depending on the count, and specifically the amount of strikes in the count. Once you have that plot, so you're going to be using all the skills that we learned here today. We're going to be looking at Jom Density or JOMBin 2D, and we're going to be looking at faceting here. So you're going to make sure you include JOMBin or JOMBin Density in your plot, and you also want to facet wrap by what I'm calling for here, and then you want to post those results into the classroom underneath assignment number 3. Okay, so you're going to just make that one plot. I would actually recommend that you play around with the data even further than just looking at just the strikes. I would look at the balls, but just please pass in the one so that I know that you guys understand what I'm kind of laying out there, and you're going to post that into the assignment 3 in Classroom. So this is going to be the end of block 1 for Intro to R. So it's just the first 3 lessons. The next 3 lessons will be posted on Saturday morning. For those of you guys who will continue,